Okay, hello families. Thank you so much for being here with us today. As you know, this is part of our Family U Chat series where we meet with campus partners to talk about the important things that are happening on our campus and to make sure that you have the information you need. And so, as you all are slowly joining the room, I just want to thank you for attending, and I hope that you will continue to attend this series. We have a couple more exciting ones today. We also have another one this evening with the bursar's office. And so if you need more information about paying your bill, you can join us tonight at 6 o'clock, and we'll be talking with the office of the bursar. The most common question I get is, where can I find this presentation afterwards? And so this will be recorded and posted on our YouTube and on our Facebook. And so you'll be able to watch this recording back at a more convenient time, or to reference any of the information that you received. So without anything else, I'm going to turn it over to the Chief of Police, Tyrone Parham.
Hi, thank you so much, Jonathan. Well, we are excited to be here today, and it's an honor to be in front of you. So again, my name is Tyrone Parham. I have the honor and privilege to serve as the campus's Assistant Vice Chancellor and Chief of Police here at the UMass Amherst Police Department. Here on campus, we love our acronyms. I think most of you have gotten to know. So people often refer to us as simply as UMPD. So I'm joined today by several of my colleagues. Their Deputy Chief Damian DeWolf, Lieutenant Tom O'Donnell. Then our other Deputy Chief, Ian Sear, will take you through a presentation and a conversation so you can get a little glimpse of UMPD. Us on this call from UMPD, we are career campus public safety officers and supervisors, and there's specific intentionality around what we do to keep the campus safe. Campus public safety has many similarities, but I often say we also have many differences to many cities and towns. And I will give you this spoiler alert for the next hour or so. Yes, the state laws do apply here on campus. So I will now get ready to turn it over to Deputy Chief Ian Sear, who will walk you through the presentation. We will have plenty of time for questions at the end of the presentation. You'll be able to ask questions along the way in the Q&A section of your screen. You can also feel free to contact our office at any time, as we're one of the few offices on campus which is open 24/7, 365. And I promise you, when you phone into UMPD, you'll receive a live voice at any given day, any time of the day. So Deputy Chief Sear, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, everybody. Just give me a moment as I pull up our presentation here, and want to, like Jonathan said, welcome everybody to our presentation, and thank you for your time and your attention as we move through here. So Chief, just give me a thumbs up. We're seeing what we're supposed to see here. Okay, thank you, sir. Like the chief said, my name is Ian Sear. I'm one of the deputy chiefs here at the UMass Police Department. I've been fortunate enough to serve our community for almost 28 years. And I speak on behalf of several of us that are with you today, also as a UMass parent. And I think that that's an important distinction for us to make, because it absolutely informs how we work with our community and how we encourage our officers to work with our community. So three of us have students that either have been through UMass Amherst or are currently going through. So it's an exciting time, and it's a beautiful day here in Amherst as we're getting ready to welcome back our students. Mindful of our time, so we've got a short presentation that outlines a little bit about what the police department does here and how we work with our community. And like Jonathan said, please put your questions into the Q&A. We'll be monitoring those as we go along, and we'll make sure that we can address those to the best of our ability as we conclude our presentation.
Hey, Ian, before you keep going,
Yes, sir.
You might want to switch the display settings so that it's more full screen for the families.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Perfect.
We're good there, Jonathan?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. 3 years in, I'm still new to Zoom. So a little bit about us. As the chief mentioned, we have the full authority to enforce the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We are police officers that are provided authorization just like any city or town police department in the Commonwealth. And like he said, the laws of the state do apply here at UMass. We are authorized for 60 sworn officers. 11 dispatchers. We're supported by a cadre of administrative support staff. We employ student cadets, and those are college students that are interested in pursuing criminal justice careers. And we're happy to provide them a pathway to hopefully realize those goals. And then we're also augmented by roughly 275 student security who provide services in our residence halls. And I will get to their roles and responsibilities in a few minutes. Like the chief said, we are one of the only offices that is open 24/7, 365 days a year. When you do call us, you will speak with a live person and we will be happy to assist you. And you may think, depending on where you are right now, that 60 sworn police officers seems like that's a lot. And we are one of the larger departments in our geographical area here in Western Massachusetts. However, I think it's important to put that into context that we have 14,000 students who live on our campus during the academic year, and some that are here as well as the off periods. And we're also joined by approximately 9,000 commuter students that live in the surrounding areas. We're happy to employ roughly 1,400 faculty, roughly 7,000 staff. And on a daily basis, we entertain thousands of visitors and people traveling through. So we're a very active environment. We're still geographically relatively small footprint, but we've got a lot of people coming in and a lot of people that are visiting us. And so we provide the safety and security services for that community. We are part of a interagency mutual aid agreement, and I mentioned that our commuter students extend our UMass footprint into surrounding communities. And that agreement allows us to share resources with our law enforcement partners so that we can make sure that we're providing the best services for our students as if they're not directly on our campus, but in our surrounding communities. And we're also very proud that we are an accredited police department. And we are accredited at both the state of Massachusetts and the national level. And accreditation for police departments means a lot, but really what it means is that our policies and our procedures have been vetted and tested, and we've proven that we are meeting and maintaining both state and national best practices. So we're very proud of that because what that does is it makes sure that our officers have the most up-to-date training, the most up-to-date policies and practices to make sure that we're serving our community professionally. We're also very proud that we maintain what we refer to as an accountability and transparency website. That website link is there, and as we go through the presentation, you'll see other links to websites, and Jonathan mentioned you can access those later. But this accountability and transparency website provides our community with a dashboard of our activity and information on any related training that our officers received, as well as complaints that we received, which we're very fortunate to say are very, very few on a year-to-year basis. It reaffirms our commitment to de-escalation techniques and eliminating bias-based policing. And most importantly, it acknowledges the voices of our community. We fully recognize that we have students, faculty, and staff from all over the United States and all over the world. Each one may bring a unique perspective about interactions with policing and police officers. And so this website allows us to acknowledge those voices and to make sure that we are providing services that meet expectations. We don't do this job alone. Our success is contingent on collaboration and partnerships with many other UMass partners to ensure that we're providing our students, our staff, with necessary resources. First and foremost, we are an educational institution, and police officers and the police department here at UMass is a vital role of understanding education, and education is the first goal that we try to strive for, is making sure that our students know what the expectations are. And when there's times that they need to be held accountable, we look for methods that might not be necessarily strict enforcement, but other opportunities. And as I mentioned, we have partnerships with all the offices that you see here and many others. People always want to know what our activity looks like. And we're busy with calls for service, but those calls for service don't necessarily mean that there's police activity that is required in those calls for service. The chief mentioned that we are open 24/7 when sometimes when there's, a caregiver or a parent or community member that can't reach another department on campus seeking information, they may call us. So we handle many calls coming into our dispatch center. Some of them are not related to police services, but we redirect them appropriately. However, we do respond to all sorts of medical calls, fire calls in partnership with the Amherst Fire Department. We have a robust relationship with them. Our officers are very proactive. You'll see that in a minute. And so those calls for service are captured in that statistic right there. Your students are very fortunate that they are residing in an area of the university where our response time is usually less than 3 minutes from the time that we get a call for service to the time a police officer arrives on scene. And so we're very proud that we are responsive and we take seriously the emergent nature of some of our calls for service. Those staffing numbers there are simply just to illustrate that at a minimum, we will have 3 to 4 officers per shift during the academic year and at least 1 supervisor. Oftentimes those numbers could easily double based off of the activity level that we are expecting or events that we have scheduled for any given day. Mentioned our activity, and you'll see the link below that links to our annual security report. The annual security report can be found on our website, and that security report provides information to our community about the police department and the calls for service that we respond to. It is a federally mandated report, but we are proud to share the activity that our officers respond to so that you as a consumer have the best information about the environment and the work that we are all doing here at UMass Amherst. We are very proactive with motor vehicle stops. We have mentioned, our 14,000 plus students that are navigating our roadways and crosswalks every single day. And you add that the university has several roads that are, lack of a better word, arteries to different areas of the community. So we see quite a few vehicle pedestrian interactions, and we want to make sure that both sides are safe there. So we're very active with our traffic enforcement. We deal with alcohol related offenses. Again, we are a college community dealing with and working with students that are in the 18 to 24 year range. So there's some peer pressure there with alcohol or other substances. And the majority of those contacts, are alcohol related misdemeanors. We do respond regularly to mental health concerns or students, faculty, staff that might be in crisis. And it's important to note that all of our officers have received specialized training in response to these calls. We have a very strong partnership with our Center for Counseling and Psychological Help. And we're currently evaluating a different approach, shared approach, co-responder approach, which has come onto the national landscape. And so we're making sure that our students, faculty, and staff that may be in crisis are receiving the resources appropriately. We also deal with crimes against persons. We tend to deal with thefts, We'll talk about that in a moment. Simple assaults, those are very rare. Acts of vandalism are there. And we also have to address, unfortunately, dating and relationship violence and sexual assault. It's important to note that all of our officers are trained in how to respond to those types of situations. And I'd like to make note that we are very grateful that we have a resource which is called a civilian advocate. And that is an advocate that is in partnership with the Center for Women and Community, as well as the Equal Opportunity and Access Office of Title IX, and provides survivors of those types of incidents with resources and works in partnership with us and the reporting party. And so it's unfortunate that that these events happen. Our position is that, you know, one of these events is too many, but we are very happy that we've got the resources that we have to provide in those types of situations. We have those 60 plus officers available to our community, and we're very proud that they have a number of mechanisms in which to do their job. We are very pleased that we have specialized units in UMPD, whether that is mounted officer, motorcycle officer. We have two canine officers there, Alec and Parker, as well as our community outreach mountain bike unit. And again, it provides our officers with a great work environment where they can come in, and if they enjoy riding a motorcycle or a horse, they can achieve those goals. But what we really see with that is, as you can see, it does create a community connection there. It reduces some of the barriers that we see historically in police community contacts, and it opens up discussions for our community and our officers, and allows us to really create some great positive lasting memories. I mentioned that education is one of the foremost aspects of our work here at UMass, and we're very pleased that we have a robust community outreach and crime prevention awareness office that is headed up by Lieutenant Tom O'Donnell, who's on the call. And these are some of the programs that the community outreach office provides, among others. Like It, Lock It, Keep It, and Project Protect are programs whereby we provide information for students to secure their valuables, perhaps register electronics. Sometimes electronics and devices get lost. Sometimes they get picked up accidentally. Sometimes, unfortunately, there's intent to deprive the person of those devices. But through those strategies, we can hopefully reduce those types of incidents. We offer Citizens Police Academy that is available to students and the community. And what's unique about that for students is that they can earn college credits towards that. So it's a unique aspect of that. We offer a program on self-defense awareness, and Watch for Me. I mentioned our pedestrian interactions, and that is education and programming that our outreach office provides to students when they return and throughout the academic year about pedestrian safety, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Active threat training, again, an unfortunate reality in our country is acts of mass violence, and so we provide training for our community upon request to offer strategies for how to respond to that situation in the college environment. Unfortunately, our students in the K through 12 environment, this has become just a daily part of their existence in K through 12. But the messages and the strategies might be slightly different in the university setting. And lastly, Walk for Light. Every November, we will go engage with people in our community, and we go out and we look to make sure that our campus is well lit. It's the proper type of lighting, that we've got lighting in areas that we need, and making sure that it's safe for our students, faculty, and staff to walk around in a very well-lit environment. Tom's office in the community outreach does so much more, and you can see the link there on the slide, so I encourage you to check that out. I mentioned that we don't do this alone, and we share partnership with university departments, but we also need to partner with you as parents and caregivers. Community safety is a shared responsibility, and what we ask you to help us with is communicating to your students to call us first if there's a crime or emergency that we need to know about. Sometimes they may seek the guidance or the advice of a residence hall staff person, a faculty member, etc. But in the case of a crime or an emergency, please encourage them to call us first. We'll throw up some contact information. It's also on our website for you to look and make sure that they have that. I mentioned pedestrian safety. Please encourage them to put down the phone pay attention to vehicles to ensure that they stop. It's important that this is a relationship between a pedestrian and a motor vehicle operator, so that both sides know that they have obligations to start. We also have many approved crosswalks and alternate routes. We've got tunnels under certain roadways and different ways to traverse the campus. So just encourage you to share that responsibility with them. And I mentioned some of the securing valuables programs that we have through our outreach office. And many of these situations are preventable. We tend to see students in a dining hall will put their U-card ID on a table with their cell phone to reserve a spot, because seats are a valuable commodity on our dining commons. Again, we would encourage them not to do that. We would encourage them to secure their valuables, and so that we can hopefully reduce those incidents, and so that they don't lose their property, because it's extremely valuable to them. In addition to police services, one of our divisions in UMPD is the Residence Hall Security Department. And the Residence Hall Security Department provides student security. So we employ about 250, 275 student monitors. And they are the people that will be during the evening hours ensuring that our students have access to their own residence hall, and that any guests that they desire to bring in are registered with us, so that we can have an account of who's in the building, and making sure that anybody who does not have authorization to be in the building is not allowed into that. So you can see that we have evening staffing in all 52 of our residence halls. Important to note that the exterior and the interior doors in the lobbies of those halls are locked 24/7. Your student, if they live in the specific residence hall, through their U-card will have access to that. They just simply swipe in and they're allowed access. But if your student chooses to or wishes to visit somebody else in another residence hall, they do not have access to that, and they need to be checked in during the security hours. Residence hall security also provides walking escorts. We get questions on the ability for students to have walking escorts. And that information is also found in the link below, where you can access those. And you can see we're very active. We register about 350,000 guests annually, and that may sound like a staggering number, but that also captures UMass students that live in one residence hall that are simply going over to meet a student in another residence hall. But they are very active, and they're a critical part of our security here on campus. Again, how can you partner with us with respect to residence hall security? Do your best to reinforce good decision-making. Guest policies may be not modified during high activity weekends. We usually communicate that out to our students as well as to our parents and caregivers. Please encourage them to lock the room door. I mentioned that the doors are locked to the exterior and the lobbies 24/7. At the room itself, it is still a key lock. And make sure that they are locking their room door every time. It's very convenient for students to leave their door unlocked and run down to flip a load of laundry or grab an order of wings from the lobby or run down to visit a friend. And while we appreciate that our students feel very safe and secure in their residence environment, we at times see people, whether they are additional other residents or guests of residents, that will unfortunately make entry into an unlocked room and perhaps that remove items that don't belong to them. So we encourage them to lock their room doors every single time. If they're going to have visitors, parents and caregivers included, please bring your identification so that we can make sure that you're allowed entry in. And again, consider the residence hall as a home by not inviting or admitting people that you don't know. We also participate in an emergency notification system. The link to sign up to UMass Alerts is on the slide. We encourage you as parents and caregivers to sign up for those alerts. Those alerts are utilized when there's an emergency in the campus community. That emergency can take a number of different forms. It could be a weather emergency. It could be a hazardous materials event. It could be some risk or threat to the campus community that police are responding to. And this notification system utilizes a couple of different modalities. First and foremost, if you sign up for it, probably the one that you will get first is a text message alerting you that there is some level of concern or emergency on the campus that we are evaluating or responding to. Simultaneously, it will send an email to you. And in certain cases, we may use an outdoor siren system to notify the community. Those communication methods are simply a prompt for you to follow up on other sources, whether that's the UMass Maine Facebook and the UMass Twitter, the UMass Maine website, the UMPD Facebook or Instagram. That really will tell you that there's something going on here that we need our students and our faculty and staff to be aware of, and we're responding to. We will do our best to also provide updates at a regular frequency so that you are informed. In a situation like this where you receive a text alert that says that there's some level of emergency, please reinforce with your student that they should get the same message, and when they get the message that they should contact you if they're available to tell you if they're safe. If they don't contact you directly, please try to contact them before you contact the police department, because we've got a number of things that are taking place simultaneously. And while your student safety is of the utmost importance to us, we may not have the resources available at the time. So that's an important link with our notification system, and strongly encourage everybody on the call to sign up for that. That's pretty much what we have for who we are and what we do. First and foremost, like the chief said, we are career police professionals here. We enjoy working in this environment, and we're very privileged to work together with you as parents and caregivers to make sure that our campus is a safe and respectful environment for our students. I mentioned it does take a community to grow our scholars, and we're honored to participate in that process. And lastly, we thank you for choosing UMass Amherst. So with that said, I'm going to move us to some of our links here. If you want to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or our main website, and you can see that later also in the slide. And with that, I'm going to stop our sharing, I hope. Oops. There we go. And I think that we should be back. So with that said, I think, Tom, you've been monitoring questions and answers. Do you have anything, sir?
Yeah, just one thing about safety, and somebody asked a question about bike locks and how many thefts we have of bikes. We do not actually, for the amount of bikes that are on campus, we don't have a lot of bike thefts, but of those bikes that are stolen, just know that if you have a quality lock, rarely is it somebody coming and cutting locks off. The same thing that we teach in our Like It, Lock It, Keep It program about doors. Nobody is coming here and breaking doors down, but if you leave your door open, you give somebody that chance to take something. There are crimes of opportunity that happen. So just be aware of that. So our Like It, Lock It, Keep It is really talking about locking your items. Don't leave your items unattended. Don't give somebody that opportunity. I just talked quickly about crosswalk safety a little bit more. It sounds silly that we talk about crosswalk safety when we're dealing with college students. Unfortunately, we've had accidents in the past, and we have two roads, Commonwealth Ave and Massachusetts Ave, which are major roads that are 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction. And though you may be in a crosswalk, and though that first car may stop for you, we always stress to look and make sure that you're giving eye contact to all the operators to make sure that everybody is stopping. What usually happens when there is an accident is that first car stops, the student or the person continues walking in the crosswalk, never looks for that second vehicle that could be coming in that same direction. So we really want to stress about that crosswalk safety. And then, sorry, one more thing about Project Protect. So whether you bring a bike, a gaming system, or anything on campus, you can always go to Project Protect through the UMass Police Department website, and you can register any item that you'd like for free. You can add pictures, information about serial numbers. That way, we have the information. If anything ever is stolen, we have that information, which we can try to locate it easier and return it to the proper owner. But also, it's peace of mind. If you're say somebody registers a bike here, and in 4 years they graduate and they're somewhere else, and their bike is stolen and they don't have the information, they can always call here and we will be able to find that information out so that they can have their serial number and all the information needed to report that stolen.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. Just reviewing some of the questions and answers, and appreciate my partners providing some responses there. So we've got a number of questions that are put in there and have been answered. I'm just looking through. We have a question about any special safety practices that we are doing for the LGBTQ community. We're very fortunate that we've got a longstanding partnership with our Stonewall Center here on campus, which is the main resource for the LGBTQ plus community. And we understand sometimes that there's been challenges with police community relations specific there. And we're very fortunate that we've got that great working relationship to provide contact opportunities to demonstrate that UMPD is very sensitive to the needs of that community also. Chief, I'm seeing that you had something perhaps on that, sir.
No, you've already hit it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Other than Ian, as you know, we have a number of, or actually I'd say a plethora of various specialized training as we interact with, specific community members, including the LGBTQIA plus community. And more likely than not, actually, the director of the Stonewall Center, Janie Beeman, who we have a great relationship, oftentimes actually conducts the training for our officers. And not just Dr. Beeman, but other national training, in-person training. So that's an area of specialties that we have intentional outreach with. But we also want to make sure we have the most training, education, kind of trauma-informed perspective, and kind of be proactive so that students know that we try to reach our hand out first, not just waiting for students to come to us first.
I've got two questions about parallel training for students, or will the students have a similar training session once they move in? We recognize that our incoming students are bombarded with information, specifically during the first few weeks of their onboarding and their first few weeks of actually attending classes here. We provide a number of different opportunities through shared events that we have, like USAFE and UFest, to allow some contact with the police department. We also partner with our residence hall education program, and we provide them resources through the resident assistants and the peer mentors, whereby we can share information, perhaps not in the same format as we have shared with you today, but a similar type of message as it relates specifically to the students' role in their safety and security. Tom, I see a question on self-defense classes. Do you have input on that?
Yep. I think I answered it. If not, sorry. But we are starting a new self-defense class this semester in partnership with the rec center. We don't have all of the information at this time, but more information will be coming out through Facebook and with the rec center because we're partnering with them.
Great, thank you.
Also on the similar training portion, on October 11th, we will be having what we call USAFE, that is put on by the police department. that is on the north lawn of the student union. And what that what that does is it gives all students, actually gives all faculty, staff, and students information on resources around safety. And we go very broadly. So around police resources in the town of Amherst, the Amherst Police Department, fire departments will be there, both Hadley and Amherst. And we even do building codes for the towns of Amherst and Hadley. So if your student moves off campus, they understand the rules that they have to follow once they move off. And also a lot of resources around Title IX, ombuds, all kinds of things on campus. So that is a great fair for students to plan on attending. And again, that's October 11th from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. outside of the Student Union building.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. There was a question. I'm not sure if it might have been answered in the answered by one of my partners about off-campus students and safety and security in many of our apartment complexes off campus. We share a fantastic working relationship with the Amherst Police Department, and we share many of the resources between the two departments. We also have a program through both departments called Crime Prevention through Environmental Design. And in cases we've worked with property owners outside the campus footprint per se, to improve lighting in their parking lots, to make sure that that people are feeling safe as they navigate from parking lots into their apartment complexes. And so I hope that that answered the question that was posed to us earlier on that. And I think I'm just seeing that we've got a question on special staff training interacting with persons on the autism spectrum, and I'm going to let Damien finish up his response to that. I think you're typing one, sir. Okay, great. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions here. Please consult our website. Like the chief mentioned, we are here 24/7. We are also available to you as the leadership of the police department. And please feel free to contact us directly if you have any questions that we can hope to answer for you. And then we got one more question that we'll follow up with a typed answer, but I'll, Chief, do you have any closing comments, sir?
Yeah, I just see one additional question here about terrorism issues, and that is just that we do work, as we mentioned, we certainly don't work in a silo, and we know that terrorism is an international and national issue. So we work collaboratively. If there is a terrorism issue that arises here, we would obviously reach out to our federal partners, which we have a very good relationship with both our federal and state partners, as many things are much more global than being very specific here on campus. So if there's any information that comes in, we reach out to those partners. Same thing if they get information of something that may be occurring on campus, they reach out to us. And then, of course, if needed, we would certainly alert the community. So it is very intentional. We are, we certainly monitor and aware of our worldly threats on any given day. And it is something we take, very seriously.
Well, thank you all for being here today. Tom, did you want to add anything before you all go?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, all right. Well, anyone else, Chief? Everybody good?
I think we are. Again, I think Deputy Chief Sear mentioned this, but we're available all the time, even from an administrative perspective. Any of us on this line, we all have regular business hour schedules. Feel free to pick up the phone and give us a call. We certainly encourage, as Deputy Chief Sear mentioned earlier, sometimes calls are delayed. A student may be hesitant on reaching us for whatever reason. They want a third party validation. They'll run it by someone else and say, hey, this didn't seem right. I saw this strange person, or I saw something going on. What should I do? So we always say if students should feel welcome to call us, at any moment. We'll validate the call, we'll go check it out, and make sure it's nothing. So we'd much rather verify that than, a student waiting to speak to a family member the following day, and then it's, really hard time for us to track it down. So just the immediacy is very important. And then just reiterating, Jonathan, that we're here. This is, we do this for a living. Most people, safety is the furthest thing from their mind, and that's kind of a good thing in a way, because we are such a safe community. But it's not so good when people aren't thinking about safety. So, we always say, have safety on their mind. It's very important. And, we're here for students, our faculty and our staff and our visitors with our tons of special events occurring on a daily basis.
Well, thank you all for being here today, and for sharing all this great information with our families. And then families, thank you also for being here. Like I said at the beginning, you can find this recording on our YouTube, or our website, umass.edu/parents. And we will see you tonight at 6 o'clock for our webinar on the Office of the Birth Star. Hope you have a great rest of your day.